more about Unity Analytics. So first of all, I want to thank Natasha, Tatiana, and everyone from the Unity Russia team for making this webinar happen. This is my very first webinar, so I hope it works out pretty well. And what I wanted to do today was tell you a little bit more about Unity Analytics. I'm going to go over a couple points of why you should choose Unity Analytics over other analytics solutions, and I'll also give you a sneak peek at some of the features that we're developing in the future, and I'll also make sure to leave some time at the end of the presentation to answer any questions that you have. So first off, let me tell you kind of what our team's goal is. We have one goal as Unity Analytics, and that's to make your life easier. To give you some backstory, before we were Unity Analytics, we were a company known as Playnomics, and Playnomics was acquired by Unity in April of 2014. And so we spent the past couple of years, a year and a half, really thinking about what we could do to make analytics accessible and easy to use and actionable. And so the first thing that we focused on is making sure that we have, hands down, the best integration by far. There won't be any other analytics tool out there that will have an easier integration than Unity Analytics. And so to show you that, I'm actually going to walk through what that integration looks like in Unity 5.2. So let me share my screen. Let's see. So here I have the Unity editor open. I'm using 5.2, and I'm going to create a new project. So let's call this webinar. I'm going to select the 2D project. It works obviously for 3D or 2D, and I'm going to create that project right now. So the Unity editor is now open, and as you can see here in the editor, there's this cloud button, and that's what we call the cloud services window. And this is where you can access all the great services that Unity has to offer. So before I dive into that, I'm going to quickly save this scene. So I've saved my scene, and then I'm just using an empty scene as an example. Obviously, when you go to integrate, you want to use this in your game scene. So the first thing you want to note here, it says create a Unity project ID. And so first, I'm going to select an organization. And so when you sign up for your UDN, which is your Unity account, you'll be assigned an organization. And so I'm going to pick this organization, Angelo Ferro, and I'm going to create a project. And so here you'll see buttons for ads, for analytics, for cloud build, and multiplayer. So let's focus on analytics. I'm going to turn it on by clicking on, and this will take me to another window where I have to hit Enable Analytics. So I'm going to press this button, and then this app is not directed to children under age of 13, so I'm going to put that here, and I'm going to save these changes, and that's it. So I'm going to save my project again, save scene, and then I'm going to click on this link, go to dashboard, and this will take you directly to the Unity Analytics dashboard. And so what it's done is it's taking you to the dashboard. You're at the basic integration step, and so at this point, all you have to do is press play in the editor, and you'll be able to see data from your game directly onto your dashboard. And so I'm going to switch back to the editor, and I'm just going to press play. So press play. There's nothing in here, so I can't really play around with it. But if I did that correctly, you can see that you'll start getting events from the editor on your dashboard. And so here you can see that there's an app start event. And so this tool here is what we call the validator. And this is a great tool to use because it allows developers to test whether or not the events that you're instrumenting are coming in correctly. And so there's not much of a lag when you test events from the editor or from any devices that are sideloaded onto your computer. And so this is a great way to test out if you're testing out transactions, if you're testing out custom events, to make sure that they're appearing on your dashboard correctly. So that's all you need to do, and with that you've completed basic integration. And so with that you'll be able to know how many players you have, whether or not they're staying, what their retention is, and how many days they've been playing for. We also offer advanced integration. So here, advanced integration you can think of as letting you really analyze events that you care about. So first we have custom events, and you can think of a custom event as any event that's unique to your game. For example, if you wanted to track how many people were completing a certain level, or if they were using a certain power-up, or if they beat a boss and using a certain weapon, those are all data points that you can capture using our flexible custom event structure. And the way that we set it up is that here in the editor, you just create a custom event name, and then you can pass along up to 10 parameters to that custom event. So as an example, let's say the custom event was level complete. You could pass along the number of gold coins, how much time that user had spent, how much HP that user had when they completed that specific event. So in addition to custom events, we also have monetization. And so one of the great features that we offer is we do offer receipt verification for iOS and for Android. And it's, again, pretty simple. You just use this line of code, send us the product ID, the price, the currency, the receipt string, which we use for verification, and then the signature. And then finally, we also have user attributes. And so user attributes, this isn't something that we collect by default. But let's say you're using a third-party SDK like Facebook, which has the gender or birth year information. You can pass that information along to us, and then using the segment builder feature, which I'll show you shortly, you'll be able to create custom segments and really dive down and analyze your players' behaviors. And so that's it as far as integration goes. Again, it's super duper easy. There won't be any other tool out there that can beat us as far as the integration goes. And then now what I'm going to do is dive in and give you a bit of a deeper overview into the actual dashboard itself. So what I'm going to do is, so when you sign on to Unity Analytics for the first time, one of the great things that we have is we have this demo project called Raging Bots. And this project is available to all users right when you sign into the Analytics dashboard. And what it is, it's a sample app that has a bunch of data already populated in it. And so let's say it's your first time building a game and you don't have any data to play with. This is a great sandbox for you to play with. And so what we've really focused on for Unity Analytics is making sure that the analytics was really easy to use and easy to understand. When we talk to developers, a big kind of pain point that we heard was that the analytics tools out there were really complicated to use, and that you had to spend hours and hours just digging through the dashboard in order to find out what was meaningful to you. And so we wanted to take kind of that guesswork away. And again, going with the theme of making your life easier, we wanted to surface as much insight as we could. And so the first feature that we're looking at here is called Metric Monitor, and you can kind of think of this as basically a report card for your game. Right now we're looking at active players, and so you can see metrics related to that specific category. So here we can see that we had a couple of new users, about 2 or 3 new users every day. Our DAU is growing consistently high. We're at 29 users, and our MAU is growing. You can also take a look at your sessions. So here we can show you the total number of sessions that your game has had that day, as well as sessions per user. We can show you what your retention looks like, and we can also show you what your revenue looks like. And so in this example, here you notice that there's verified revenue, and verified revenue is any revenue that has been verified against a matching receipt from either Google Play or from iTunes. And so right now we're looking at verified revenue, and you can see that here we had a huge spike in revenue that happened around the 16th. And then it takes a huge dip on the 17th, and then it goes back up on the 22nd, and then it takes another big dip from the 22nd onward, and it stays pretty low. And so if you're looking at this dashboard the first time, you might think that something's going on. You had a huge spike here, but then all of a sudden your revenue is dropping. So what could be causing that? If you click on this magnifying glass, this will take you to our second feature, which is the Data Explorer. And so you can think of the Data Explorer as kind of a slice and dice tool. What it allows you to do is take a deep look at how your different game users are performing. So right now we're looking at, let's take this out, and here we're looking at revenue for all the players in our game. And we can see those 2 spikes, one on the 16th and one on the 23rd. Sorry, one on the 22nd. And so let's say we want to dig deeper and see what might be causing these spikes and what would be causing these dips. So one of the things that we can do is we can look at our DAU. So let's take a look at our DAU, and then let's take a look at it for our iOS users. So our game is available, this game, Raging Bots, is available on iOS and Android. So let's take a look at what that DAU looks like for our Android users as well. So on the same line, we try to make it so that you can visualize multiple metrics at the same time. And so again, the blue line is our revenue number, and then our orange line here is the DAU number. And so the DAU for the orange line, which is our Android users, it spikes around the same time that there's a spike in revenue, and then it just plummets right after that. Whereas for iOS users, you can see that the DAU is pretty consistent, and so something's going on there, especially with our Android users, that's causing them to, for one reason or another, they're just not coming back to our game. And so let's say you wanted to dig a bit deeper and see, what could be causing our Android users to fall off. One of the features that we developed to look at that is the funnel analyzer. And so a funnel, you can think of this as basically a way to track how your players are progressing through your game. And so in this example, Raging Bots is a level-based game. So far we only have 3 levels. We have level 1, level 2, and level 3. And so setting up the funnel is pretty easy. As a developer, all you need to do is set up a custom event. And in this case, we set up the custom event where level 1 is a custom event, level 2 is a custom event, and level 3 is a custom event. So this is looking at, of all the players in our game, how many people have completed level 1, which is 50. 43 people of the 50 completed level 2. And then we see this huge drop from level 2 to level 3. Only 14 people completed that level, so it's an overall 28% completion rate. One of the cool things you can do is that we can layer this on with the segmentation, so we can really dive deep and see which specific groups of users are being affected. So here on drill down type, you can select a segment overview. So right now looking at segments overview, and let's take a look at our geography segment. So here we're breaking down the number of people who are completing this funnel and looking at it geographically. So we can see that in the US there's a 25% conversion rate, South Korea 11% conversion rate, but you can't really tell here, it doesn't look like there's a specific geographic pattern that's causing certain users to drop off. So why don't we take a look at our platform segments. And so similar to what we saw in Data Explorer, you can see that for our iOS users, we had 32 people complete that level, 27 complete the second level, and then only 0 completed that level. So something's going on again with our iOS users and our Android users that's causing them to drop off their funnel. And so this is a useful tool to have because it helps you narrow down what's going on. The other feature that I wanted to show you is that we also allow you to build custom segments. And custom segments are very powerful because they allow you to look at really deep, granular views of your audience. So when you first integrate analytics, these segments you'll get straight out of the box. All current users or all the users in your game. We also have monetization segments. So once you've instrumented the monetization advanced integration, you'll be able to track who your whales are, who your top spenders, your dolphins, and your minnows. We also have platform segments, and so by default we have a segment for Android users and iOS users, but we support also Windows Phone 8.1, and we also support standalone. So that includes Windows, Linux, and Mac. You also have your lifecycle segments, and lifecycle segments are meant to look at basically how long your players have been playing for. So are your players in the first 1 to 3 days? Have they just started your game? Or are they in 15 to 30 days? Have they been playing your game for over 2 weeks, but they're really committed, so they have really great retention? And then finally, we have the geography segments. And so by default, I think we picked the top 12 geos, but the great thing about Media Analytics is that you can create your own custom segments, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So within Segment Builder in your dashboard, all you have to do is click on New Segment, and then here, let's call this Webinar Segment, is where you can create any number of segments. And so here are the criteria. You can create segments based on when a user has had a session, how many sessions they've had in the day, how many minutes they spent in your game, how much they've spent, and if you're passing us the user info, you can tell us, we can create segments based on their gender or what their age is, and you can also create segments based on where their country is. And so let's say you wanted to create a segment for Thailand, which is a standard segment, you could create that here. And let's say you also wanted to, one of the unique features that we have is that you can also create segments based on custom event data. So in this example, when you create a custom event, it'll show up here. So when the system sees the event for the first time, it'll automatically pre-populate in this dropdown. So let's say we wanted to look at people who are playing a game in Thailand and who had started the game with the mode equal to hard. And let's add another rule where we want to look at anyone who has spent at least $1 ever in their life. So we created the segment. It's going to look at our users who are located in Thailand, who play the game on hard mode, and who have spent at least $1 ever. So I'm going to hit save, and then I'll get this prompt, and it says your segment has been submitted. For a new segment, it takes about 4 hours before results are available. And so another common question we get from developers is, how long does it take for before you start seeing data on your dashboard? And so generally, when you look at your dashboard, it's updated roughly every 4 to 6 hours. We are working to a big request from a lot of developers out there has been to have more real-time metrics. And so we are working on that. And so hopefully early next year, we'll be able to have a real-time dashboard that will be able to show you at least basic metrics like installs and revenue in real time. But for right now, the lag from the dashboard is about 4 hours. The only, as I did mention, in integration, we do have that validator window. So let's say you're testing the app for the first time, and again, you want to make sure that you completed your custom events correctly. This happens in close to real time. There's not really a lag. So again, any events that you fire from the editor will show up in here, and you'll also be able to see, in this example, you can see that the event name is game over, and that the parameters are being passed correctly. So going back to the Data Explorer, the cool feature here is that you can really drill down into your segments. Again, here are the segments that you get straight out of the box. You get the lifecycle segments, the geography segments, and then monetization segments. But the cool feature is that any custom segments that you create will be down here. And so there's no data yet because that hasn't been populated. But when that data is populated, I'm going to go back to the segment that does have data. We actually calculate metrics for the segment going forward. So for all segments that you create, we'll let you know what the DAU is, what the number of new users are, what their sessions, what their retention is, and what their revenue is. And so it's a really powerful tool because you can create as many custom segments as you like, and you can really drill down and see which players have the best retention or which players are monetizing the best. Also within Data Explorer, we do offer a way to visualize the way that your custom events, the custom events that you're capturing. And so what I've done here is I clicked on Add Custom Event, and down here I'm going to select a custom event. So let me select that Game Start event, and I'm going to select the All Current User segment. So what this shows you is it shows you how many users had started that Game Start event. But if I want to drill down, I can click on View Parameters, and this will allow me to look and really drill down on the parameters associated with the Game Start event. So parameters can take on one of three forms. They can either be numeric, and so numeric means that they have the pound sign, or they can be a Boolean, which is true or false, or they can be a string. And so for numeric parameters, what we can do is we can show you the average, the sum, the count, and the average numeric parameters. And then for string parameters, what we do is we can show you distributions. And so here we're looking at the Game Start event for all current users in our game, and then this is showing you the different modes. And so if I click on this chart here, I can actually see a distribution. And so over this time period, this many users started on Zen mode, this many users started on Classic mode, and this many users started on Rage mode. I can also click on this pie chart visualization, and you can see what that means as far as a percentage of users starting in that mode. So that's how you were able to view the custom events visualizations. One of the things that I want to make clear is that everything we do, we make sure that we get feedback from the community. And so we actually prioritize this visualization of custom events because when we launched, we had the ability to create custom events, but there wasn't a way for you to visualize it on your dashboard. And so our team prioritized making sure that you could see that on your dashboard. And so some of the things that we're working on now is basically making it easier for you to view your custom event data, your metric data, and your parameter data all in one dashboard. And so probably this year or the next year, we're actually going to revamp the Data Explorer feature and make it more powerful, more flexible, so you can get the most out of your data. And then for all of these charts, you see this option here to export to CSV. If you click on that, you'll be able to export this to CSV, and it'll give you this data that you see plotted on this chart. And so that's kind of an overview of the dashboard and the features that we currently have. What I want to do now is also share with you some of the features that we have going forward. And so let me just pull this up. All right, so one of the features that we recently announced at Unite Boston is heat maps. And so this is a video that shows you how the heat map event is created. And so this is a video in the editor. What you're going to do is you're going to create a custom event, and that custom event is going to be a heat map event. And in this video, what we're doing is we're sending a heat map event that's called player position. And so what this is going to do is that whenever this heat map event is triggered, it's going to send us XY coordinates of where their players are located. And so if you want to test out heat maps, what you would do is you'd put in this custom event in your code, and then you'd send that out, you'd create a build, and then you'd send it out to users. And so once you've had a couple users creating data, what you would do then is you would download the heat map plugin, which you can see here, and you would download the raw data. So these are all JSONs, and then they basically have the custom event data. And what the heat map plugin does is it takes this data in JSON format and it parses it so that it can make sense of it within Unity. And with that, you'll be able to take the data, see it's processing the data, it's processing the JSON, and then here it will actually load, and this is a real cool feature, it'll actually load the data that was collected by Unity Analytics into your game scene. And so this is a really powerful feature. We've gotten a lot of great feedback about it, and this brings me back to another reason of what makes Unity Analytics unique is that we really care about analytics. It's analytics built for game developers, and so it was really important to us that when we created this heat map tool, that it was something that you could visualize within the editor. And so this is something that you can lay this on top of your scene. You can easily scroll around. You can change the visualization, and you can really see the effect of the heat map and where players are congregating in your game. So heat maps is a feature that we announced a couple weeks ago, and it's currently in beta. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can access this feature. Just a second. Okay, so here is the Unity website, and so I'm sure you're all familiar with this. And so if you want to access any of the great services that I just talked about today, all you have to do is click on Services, and here you can see all the different services that are available. We have ads, we have every play, we have build, and here we have analytics. So by clicking on Learn More, this will take you to our main landing page. And so if you want to try out the beta, all you have to do is click here, and this will take you directly to the dashboard where you can sign up and create an account. If you're interested in heat maps, we are rolling out heat maps currently, and so you guys can sign up. All you have to do is scroll down and click on Learn More. So I'm going to click on Learn More, and this will take you to the heat maps landing page. Here's a short video that shows you kind of what heat maps can do, and more importantly, here's a button here that's called Sign Up for Early Access. So if you click on this, it'll take you to your screen. You just fill in this information, and so about every week we take a look at all the users who had signed up for the beta, and then we're slowly onboard them. So this is something that's available now. I think some of you had questions about whether or not the analytics could handle the amount of heat map data being generated, and so currently we're limiting heat maps to just apps that are in pre-production, and so no apps that are live, just apps that are still in kind of that haven't been fully launched yet. And that's available for heat maps. So if you guys are interested, just again go to the page, fill this out, hit submit, and then within the next week or so, we can get you access to the heat maps feature. Another feature that we're working on, again, that we think will be a huge value add is Unity IAP. And so what Unity IAP is that if you've ever built out a payment system before, what we've heard from developers is that it's a really big pain. You basically have to build one payment system for Google and then a whole separate payment system for Apple, and that can be a really big mess. And so in 5.3, we're going to be releasing Unity IAP, and Unity IAP will work very similarly to the Unity Analytics, where it'll be an in-editor experience. There'll be another basically row within the services window where you can turn on IAP, and then from there you'll be able to select which stores you want to build to. And so when we launch, we'll have support for Google, Apple, Mac Store, and also Windows Store, with more platforms coming in the future. And so this Unity IP is actually also available for you guys to test if you have a Pro license. All you have to do is go back to the analytics page, sign up for the beta. So sign up for the beta, again, fill out a similar form, and then once you fill this out, we'll be able to give you access to the Unity 5.3 beta, and you'll be able to test out Unity IP and provide us with your feedback. One more thing I want to do before I start taking questions is I want to point out that there are a lot of resources available for you guys. So going back to the Unity 3D website, one of the things that we do is we monitor the forums. So if you go to community and you go to forums, if you ever have a question about analytics at all, just go to the Unity Analytics Beta Forum. We monitor this every day. And so if you ever have a question, please feel free to post here. If you're already using the analytics dashboard, one of the things you can do, so if you ever have a question about your dashboard and you've already integrated, just go here, click on support, and you'll be able to submit a ticket here. So just put your name, your email, select which project, and then here you can type help. And then this will automatically generate a ticket, and then one of our support engineers will be available to help you with that. So as far as support, you can reach us on the forums, you can reach us via support tickets, and finally, the one thing is that you know, a lot of the features that we built out from Unity Analytics, like I said earlier, is based on the feedback that we had from the community. And so a lot of developers have requested heat maps, which is why we prioritize that feature. And so on the website, under community, there's this feature called feedback. So if you click on feedback, you can select Unity Analytics here, and here you can actually vote for what features that you want to see. And you know, I want you guys to really take this seriously because we take this seriously. Our product managers look at this, you know, every day, if not a couple times a week, and we actually use this to determine what features we prioritize going forward. And so we look at kind of what the community is saying, we look at the forums, and we also look at which features have the most votes, and we use that information to really inform what our sprints are like and what we're going to develop next. And so, again, our job here, I mean, our main mission here at Unity Analytics is just to make your job easier. And so in order to make your job easier, we need to know kind of what is making your job hard now so that we know what we can do to make your life easier. And so if you have any questions, you know, please post in the forum, please reach us for support, and please vote on the feedback session because, you know, we need your feedback. From my perspective, I'm not, you know, I don't have a strong opinion about what feature we build out next. The only thing I care about is that whatever feature we build out, you guys will find useful and you guys will actually use. So that's it as far as kind of what I wanted to share going forward. I think I'll leave some time to answer some questions now, if there are any. So, so there's no questions. One thing I did want to share is that if you are interested in using heat maps, what we're going to do is we're going to share a YouTube link, and that YouTube link has an hour-long video that goes into all the details from start to finish of how you can create a heat map. And so if you're really interested in that feature, I recommend checking that video out, and I also recommend signing up for the beta. You sign up for the beta, you'll be able to get first-hand look at the heat map feature, and you know, you'll be able to provide your feedback and let us know what we can do to provide more value to the existing dashboard. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for your time, and have a great evening. My name is Angelo, and I'm part of the Unit Analytics team. Thank you.